Republic Act Number 9275, or the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004. Before we start, here are some of the important terms that we should be familiar with to help us understand this Republic Act. Let's start. The general purpose of this act is to monitor, regulate, and maintain the integrity of Philippine waters and lay out the responsibility and liability of polluters to its pollution. This act covers water quality management areas in all bodies of water in the Philippines. As of 2018, there are 37 declared water quality management areas in the Philippines, which include watersheds, river basins, bays, and areas within the Laguna Lake Development Authority or LLDA jurisdiction. Basically, the water quality management area's main objective is to protect water bodies and its tributaries by setting water quality guidelines or criteria. So how do they do this? First, water quality management areas are classified into different categories depending on their beneficial use. Second, they establish water quality guidelines or standards on every water quality management area. These standards refer to the allowable concentration of specific pollutants or substances or physical or chemical characteristics such as biological oxygen demand, dissolved oxygen, nitrates, phosphates, or total suspended solids. Water quality management areas that fail to maintain such standards are labeled as non-attainment areas. For such areas, establishment of new sources of possible pollutants will not be allowed unless its current state has improved, or in their language, the concentration of pollutants have been reduced. If the pollutant is naturally occurring, such as in geothermal areas, its concentration will be allowed as long as it doesn't exceed its natural concentration and that it doesn't adversely affect the water supply, human health, and the environment. So far, these provisions are focused on the water quality management areas, their classification, and their state. Now, let's discuss the provisions that are focused on the activities or establishments that contribute to the state of these water quality management areas. First one are the residential areas or the local communities. These are primarily government's responsibility. Our government needs to prepare a national program on sewerage and septage projects for local government units to contain the potential negative effect of such in our environment. Further, these residential areas can be classified as HUCs or highly urbanized cities, where they usually have their own sewerage lines. Their responsibility is to connect their pipelines to the government's existing sewerage system, which involves payment of charges or fees. Second are the business operations near water quality management areas, which contribute to its water quality. The responsibilities are to secure discharge permit, to monitor their effluent, and to abide to the water quality guidelines by establishing wastewater treatment plant. How do these establishments supposed to perform such responsibility? For residential areas, including HUCs, the government has National Water Quality Management Fund. Also, each water quality management area has Area Water Quality Management Fund. Wastewater charge system has the following considerations and exemptions. For business operations, they are supposed to secure an environmental guarantee fund to facilitate maintenance and rehabilitation of the surrounding environment. Chapter 3: Institutional Mechanism. The lead agency for this Republic Act is the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and it has the following responsibilities. Local government units, or LGUs, are also given responsibilities to allow close monitoring and immediate reporting and response. Moreover, to perform specific functions, the DENR is linked to several different agencies such as PCG or Philippine Coast Guard, DPWH or Department of Public Works and Highways, MWSS or Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System, LWUA or Local Water Utilities Administration, BIFAR, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, DOH, Department of Health, DepEd, CHED, DILG, PIA or Philippine Information Agency, and NWRB, National Water Resources Board, and PAB, Philippine Adjudication Board. Here are the prohibited acts and penal provisions of this act. Republic Act Number 9483 or the Pollution Compensation Act of 2007. Declaration of Policy. The state, in the protection of its marine wealth and its archipelagic water, territorial sea, and exclusive economic zones, shall adopt internationally accepted measures which impose strict liability for oil pollution damage and ensure prompt and adequate compensation for persons who suffer such damage. Here are some of the important terms that we need to get familiar with. The polluter shall be responsible to contain, remove, and clean up any pollution incident that is at his own expense. This basically summarizes the function of RA 9483 on its intent to protect our marine waters from oil pollution from ships. However, before we make them pay, the government has to guarantee that the pollution damage did not result from incidents to which the polluter has absolutely no control, is caused by a third party, or by negligence or wrongful act of the government. Once it is clear that it is not one of those, then we can finally make them pay for the following expenses. There could also be limit to the liability of the polluter, such as the following, given that the pollution damage was not intentional or done recklessly. Further, owners of ships involved in the transport of oil are required by the Maritime Industry Authority, (MARINA), to secure insurance and other financial security. Philippine Coast Guards, PCG, inspect certificates given by MARINA, and the Philippine Ports Authority, PPA, denies port services to ships without certificate from MARINA as a proof of their insurance and other financial security. On the other hand, the government, through this act and MARINA, shall establish an oil pollution management fund from the contributions of ship owners and operators of tankers and barges holding oil and for petroleum products within the Philippine territory. The fund shall be used for immediate containment, removal and cleanup operations, and for research, enforcement, and monitoring. Here are some of the violations and issue of the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004 and to the Oil Pollution Compensation Act of 2007. Thank you.